Hello everybody, it's Matt here from Team GHQ with this, my LinkDragon order version 4 deck profile. And considering my last deck profile was version 1, you gotta ask, what happens to versions 2 and 3? Well, 2 and 3, this deck's just pretty much so good, I skipped over the 2, so let's get into it. So, monsters first. Size Zeros, 4 copies of Quick Wit Sumasaki. Sumasaki's ability is you can only call this if you have a card with Dragon Share on the field. So, your item or another monster with Dragon Share, and you can call this out. When this creature enters the field, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and draw a card. And the Dragon Share is this card. During your post turn, this card gains defense plus 3k. Great way to make your item plus 3k. Just great way to give your item defense. Just like Hero World. So that's the only size zeros you're on. Next up, 3 copies of the new size 1 Quick Estimate. The Dragon Share on this is when this card enters the field, you may mill the top card of your deck. So you may put the top card of your deck into drop zone, and if it's a LinkDragon order, you gain a life. So, quick way of doing this, call Estimate, use the skill, top card, oh look, LinkDragon order, gain a life. Call another member, oh look, mill 2, sure, I'll drop 2, oh they're both LinkDragon orders, gain 2 life. And so on and so forth. Great way to gain silly amount of life without relying on Hara Hara. I miss Hara Hara. Next up, 3 copies of Kini Jizen. Jizen is the one that annoys most players because when he enters the field, top card deck into gauge, you have to know this call. Otherwise, the Dragon Share states this card cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. So you could destroy it by battle, but you can't by card effects. And it's so much fun because other way around it is if you're God Punk, you can pretty much get rid of him, pay gauge and pay your own gauge in life. Oh, what I meant to say is your opponent's gauge in life, and get rid of Jizen just to call Zeus. That's one way to get rid of him, because it's part of the call cost, not an effect. So, just for all people out there, God Punks are assholes. Next. 3 copies of Thunderaxe Agi. Oh yes, this is my buddy. So I only run 3 of them and 1 is my buddy, because essentially you have ways of searching him. So for example, you could Sturdy Dragon Strike, mill this and another card, and then just add it to hand with Gathering, which I'll explain what does in a minute. But anyway, core cost, pay 2 gauge it and put top card of your deck into its soul. 6,000 power, 2 critical, 3k defense. Penetrate, soul guard. All cards with Dragon Share on the field get the following Dragon Share ability. When this card attacks for this turn, it gains double attack. Double attacker goes quite well. Goes quite well just to get those double attacks, just to go for the opponent. Next up. 3 copies of the new Agito, Thundercry and Thunderflash. This call cost is pay a gauge and top card of deck into soul, so it's 1 less gauge. If you have 3 or more cards with Dragon Share on the field, all cards on your field gain an extra critical, double attack soul guard. All cards with Dragon Share get the following Dragon Share ability. When this card enters the field for this turn, it gains power plus 10k. There is a nice formation you can do with this, which I will explain in a minute. And now for a surprising tech one. Head of LinkDragon order Agito, the trial deck. Core cost pay gauge. And the Dragon Share is when this card attacks for this turn, it gains Penetrate. So essentially, there are 2 ways you could do it. 2 ways you could do this formation, so I'll show you now. One formation is if you have you first call, say, Thundercry and Thunderflash, then call Jizen. Both of them will gain plus 10k, And then if you call Gito, and then if you buddy call Thunderaxe, Thunderaxe gains 10k. Everything else gains a critical, double attack, and can't be destroyed by opposed card effects. But you say, okay, that's fine, I can rest them. One of our new items, which I will go over in a moment, is the last piece. You get that combination off, it's 24 damage, and if they somehow survive that, you could easily do 36. I'll show you the 36 later on. Anyway, next card is Investigator Mazaru. I like Mazaru. Pay a gauge. This is a 2 of. When this card enters the field, put up to 1 LinkDragon order item from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. Then if you have no items equipped, you may equip an item from your hand by paying a equip cost. So depending on the situation, you pay a gauge, call Mazaru. Oh look, I'll search out. Oh, you playing this sort of deck? Sure, I'll search out the item that gives me plus 3k. Oh, I have no I'm equipped. Straight up equip. That is it's lovely because you could pretty much equip straight away. It's sort of like your one turn. You could just call Mazaru, search out the item you need and equip it, and then just swing for that turn. That's all you need to do. Anyway, last of the monsters and size 3 is of course Spiral Thunderaxe King Gito. We all know what this card does. Its core cost is put up to a total of 6 LinkDragon order monsters from your field and LinkDragon order from your drop zone into its soul and pay 2 gauge. Spiral Dragon Share. This card gets all the dragon abilities of Dragon Share in its soul. Just this gets the soul abilities. The Soul Guard, of course, 727, and Dragon Share gains the following Dragon ability. This card's soul cannot be dropped by your opponent's card effects. So if you can get Jizen, a certain item or something, you can make this invincible. Practically. Anyway, spells. 4 copies of Undying LinkDragon Order because I can only cast this if I have a LinkDragon Order on the field. Null the attack and gain a life for every card with Dragon Share. I get a full formation, I gain 4 life, sure. If all we had a set spell with Dragon Share, I can make it 5 life. Bushro, please make a set spell for LinkDragon Order. Please. Just let's make this even more powerful. Next up, 3 copies of Dragon Emperor Legend. Of course, 3 different artworks because why not? We all know what this card does. Put top card deck into gauge, gain a life, and draw a card. Can only use it once a turn. Great way to set up your gauge. Next up, LinkDragon Order's Renewal. I like this card. Cast cost, pay gauge, counter speed, stand a monster with Dragon Share on your field and call up to one size 1 or less monster from your drop zone by resting. At rest by paying its call cost. You can only cast it once a turn. So you have King Gito and you've got like 2 Sumasakis in the soul, and you've got a Sumasaki on one of the sides. You're thinking, there's a Sumasaki in my drop zone. I've just double attacked. Sure, pay gauge, cast this, restand King Gito for another attack, and let's add Sumasaki. Let's call Sumasaki to board, gain a gauge. Gain a gauge and draw. And then you've got a 19k King Gito on your opponent's turn. Make them waste attacks. Fun. Yeah. Anyway, next up, LinkDragon Order's Links. Mill, drop the top 2 cards of your deck. Counter speed, choose and use one of the following 2 options. Option 1, put the top 3 cards of your deck into the gauge and gain a life, or destroy a monster on the field. This has so many ways of working. It is a lovely card just to have 3 in the main deck. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Okay, next up is 3 copies of LinkDragon Order's Hunt. Cast cost, pay gauge, gain a life, and draw a card for each monster with Dragon Share on your field. You can only cast this once a turn. So you have a full field, pay a gauge, Hunt. Gain 3 life, draw 3. Nothing wrong with that. A more powerful version of Dragon Emperor Legend for a gauge? Sure. Next up, my favourite card, LinkDragon Order's Oath. Cast cost, pay 2 gauge. Choose and use one of the following 2 options. You may only cast this once a turn. Option 1. For this turn, all cards with Dragon Shout on your field gain power plus 10k and a critical plus 1. Or the counter option. Stand all cards with Dragon Shout. You generally go for the bottom option if your opponent somehow survives 24 damage. This is how you restand and make that 24-36. Because everything gains a crit with the ideal formation. Next up, 2 copies of Gathering. Essentially, the card that I mentioned earlier with Agito, how to fetch him. So you study Dragon Strike, then you pay a gauge to cast this. Choose and use one of the following 2, you may only cast this once a turn. Put up to 1 LinkDragon Order monster with Agito in its card name from your deck to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Or put up to 2 cards with Dragon Share and different card names from your drop zone into your hand. So, mill both Agito, mill both Thundercry and Thunderflash Agito and Thunderaxe Agito. With Stage Dragon Strike, gain a gauge. Sure, I'll cast LinkDragon Order Gathering, get them both. It's that easy to get those 2 in hand. And other cards. Next up, 2 Divine Dragon Creations. We all know what this does, pay 2 life, which your LinkDragon Order, you don't mind paying. Draw 2 cards, you can only use it once a turn. Good 2 off, good 2 off. Next up, Sturdy Dragon Strike. I like this card because you search for up to 2 Ancient World monsters from your deck and put them into your drop zone and shuffle your deck. Then put the top card into gauge. Of course, the new wording for Sturdy Dragon Strike is drop, but I'm using the old art, so I'm using the old wording because I'm just gonna be honest, I prefer the old wording for the search and then put them to drop zone. Anyway, so that's the end of spells. Items. 1 copy of the new item, Wild Chain. Equip cost, pay a gauge and a life. This card attacks if you have a LinkDragon Order monster on your center. And the Dragon Share ability is, this card gains Penetrate and cannot be rested by your opponent's card effects. This is the 4th card in the 4 card 24 damage combo. And the combo is essentially you have Wild Chain. Then, so Thundercry and Thunderflash to the left, gains 10k. Jizen to the right, Body Call Thunderaxe, and then equip. Essentially, everything's gained 10k, everything's gained a crit, everything gained can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, and they all gain Penetrate and can't be rested. This I like very much. And again, all of the cards I mentioned, they're 2 critical. Add the extra crit, they're 3 crit each. That formation closes out most games. I say most. So next up we have 2 more items. Order's Axe, Wild Axe as a one-off. This card can attack they all can attack even if you have a LinkDragon Order on center. This one's ability is, abilities of all LinkDragon Order on your field cannot be nullified by your opponent's card effects. And the Dragon Share is, during your turn, they get power plus 3k. So, you think plus 10k was good? Plus 13. And then, lastly, on the item is the Throwax Samuji. The Dragon Share is, when this card attacks, you may pay a gauge. If you do, deal 1 auto. Just great ability, just paying your opponent for 1 auto. And then, lastly, of course, 2 impacts. Thunder Dragon Tornado. This is always going to be the impact of choice. If you have a card with Spiral Dragon Share, you don't pay the cast cost. And you can only cast this if you have a monster with Dragon Share on your field and your opponent's life is 4 or less. And the cast cost is 2 gauge, they deal 4. Anyway, that is my LinkDragon Order V4 profile. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed. Check our Facebook page, the Team JXQ page, or Twitter at Team JXQ YouTube, and links and all that are on the webpage, are in the description. And as always, happy gaming.